welcome back to Ben Marcus Books, and today this YouTube video is all about books that I'd sell my soul to read again. Yes, I've got some fantastic books that I'm so excited to talk about, and I just can't wait to get into them. They're books that when I read them, I was just absolutely in love with the characters, the world, and yeah, they definitely changed my life a little bit after reading them, so can't wait to tell you all about them. And yeah, if the devil himself were before me and asked to sell my soul to be able to read these books again, would I do it? Yes, I would. And speaking of devils, I am reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I am 60% the way through at the moment, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's the first book I've read actually from Joe Abercrombie, and I just absolutely love his ability to create these really intricate and detailed characters. Obviously, no spoilers. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone who hasn't read it, but you kind of follow this really unique group that are put together for certain circumstances relating to the plot, and I just love how they all interact with each other. They have so much depth, and although there's quite a few characters to follow, none of them feel diluted within the group. They all stand out in their unique ways and traits, and as the story progresses, now I'm 60% through, you're really starting to see like real depth in them, about their backstories and kind of how they've got to where they are, and I'm absolutely loving it. The world building's incredible. I love the humour as well in the book, and kind of like the kind of comic, like the funny kind of way that scenes roll out, with how they all interact and kind of the character traits. And yeah, it's just absolutely incredible, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, super excited to see how it finishes, and then potentially go on to read more Joe Abercrombie books. Definitely give me a comment down below about what book you're reading at the moment, and if you've read The Devils, I'd love to hear your opinion about it. But yeah, please, no spoilers in the comments below. So let's get into it. My first book that I want to talk about is my favourite read of last year, and it was just absolutely incredible, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. This book I took on holiday when I went away with my boyfriend last year. I don't know if you can see the kind of colouring of it. It's a bit wrecked and ruined, but it's just because I couldn't put it down and I took it with me everywhere. It's just incredible. It's got kind of dark academia, spirituality. The magic system is incredible. It's kind of got like found family, and I kind of love the complexity of the relationships between the four main characters that you follow. This book, you follow Robin Swift, who gets into Oxford University's Institute of Translations, and the tower is basically the centre of the English Empire at that time, and that tower is found within Oxford University, where all of the translation happens, and that is in relation to the world's magic system, which probably is one of the most unique magic systems I've ever read, and I absolutely loved it. I actually loved it so much that after I finished reading the book, I bought a book about the origins of languages, which yeah, it just really fascinated me. It wasn't overly complex once you get into it. It's explained really well, but I just found it really different, and it just stood out for all those reasons. Yeah, so you get to kind of follow Robin along his realization that this amazing kind of paradise that he's always dreamed about, being Oxford University, isn't what it seems to be, and actually he is just being used by the academics at Oxford to be able to manipulate the world actually for silver resources, which is what is used in part of the magic system. You kind of have found family in here, with the three kind of people that Robin meet, and it's kind of a complex kind of relationship between them, because they kind of all come here to escape the harsh realities and backgrounds that they've left, and come to this place that they all thought is paradise. And it's kind of like, one by one they start seeing how it's actually this cruel kind of academic sphere that they're trapped in. And I absolutely love it. There's kind of like close found relationships in there, kind of not a true love story, but for me the relationship between Robin and one of the other characters definitely has kind of a romantic-esque vibe. And yeah, the ending absolutely broke me, and I would do it all over again just to forget and be able to experience it all over again. So if you haven't read this book, I definitely recommend it. R.F. Kuang is an amazing author. I cannot wait for Catabasis to come out, which is later this year. And hopefully it's as incredible as this book, because this is definitely one of my all-time favourite books. So the next book is The Song of Achilles. And I don't have a physical book with me because I actually lent it to my boyfriend. But this book is definitely one of those books that will never leave me. I know we all experienced the ending, and when I finished it, I kind of just closed the book and had to like reflect for an hour. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful story about love, fate, and destiny. And I think that the author did an incredible job of kind of building this really complex relationship. So this is a story between the two characters, Patroclus and Achilles, who kind of are falling in love during this time of conflict and war. And it's about their kind of set destinies and where that's going to take them. And for me, the reason why this book is so special is because it's not just a love story. I feel like it's kind of a display of two souls becoming one. And the way that this book ended broke me. I cried. Yes, I cried. I've never cried from a book before, but this really did it. So warning, if you read it, it may make you cry. I just absolutely need to reread this again, and I wish that I could experience it kind of from the start without any knowledge, just to experience the kind of emotion that the author really drags out of it. And I love Greek mythology and Greek mythology retellings, but the kind of point of view of this book is just so well done, and I absolutely loved it. So definitely another one to add to your TBR if you haven't read it already. The third book that I would sell my soul to read again is Blood Over Brighthaven. This book was absolutely incredible. I absolutely loved The Sword of Kaigan, which is the other book I read by this author, M.L. Wang, and that was incredible. But when I read Blood Over Brighthaven, wow, it's probably got the most badass female main character in it, and the magic system is just to die for. So that's why I'd sell my soul to read this again. So you follow the main character, Siona, who's a female mage who's applying to become a high mage in a world of magic. The kind of opening chapter to this, wow, jaw-dropping. You need to read it to experience it. It just hooks you in instantly, and you kind of don't understand what's going on in this world. It's just pure chaos, and it's really shocking, actually, the kind of opening chapter. And then you go into meeting Siona and you're like, hang on, what's happened? But it hooks you in, and the story is explained so well. The magic system is incredible, kind of using typewriters to putting source codes where they access magic in another world, and basically by using this viewfinder they can see where the sources of that magic is, and by putting those coordinates in when they run a spell, then basically that's where the magic's sourced from. And you kind of find out a bit about the history of the magic and where that's come from, and the founding high mages who came up with that system. She is a badass female main character. I love her kind of gutsiness and how she's standing out as a female who becomes a high mage in a world surrounded by men, horrible men who deserve to be punished, is all I can say. And this book is incredible. The ending is absolutely fantastic, and I think this, coinciding with Babel, is probably the two books with the most unique magic systems. This book is absolutely 10 out of 10 for me. I kind of hoovered it up within a few days. I did it for a Fable book read with my book club, Pink Pony Book Club, and yeah, we all absolutely loved it. Kind of the badass ending is just, honestly, it couldn't have been written any better. I just absolutely loved it, and kind of I just love this point of view of the Siona does by pushing the boundaries of this world where men really are the ones who oversee the kind of magical side of things, and she becomes the first female high mage basically in a very long time. And it's her point of view of pushing through this world where no one's really going to give her any opportunity or chance. She has to fight for those herself. And in doing so, she asks questions that people really don't want to be asked. And it's kind of like her kind of destiny and exploration of finding out really the truth of all of the kind of history that she's been told, and also reflecting on her own part in that. And I think it was beautifully done. So yeah, definitely worth a read. The next book I'd like to talk about is The Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. And yes, it has to be some Brando Sando in this video. I just absolutely love his work. So when I was going through the Cosmere, I got to Warbreaker and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't hear amazing reviews. I mean, some people really love it, some people it's not their sort of thing, but this book for me was just absolutely a standout. I got hooked into the magic system. I think that Brandon Sanderson's amazing ability as an author is to create these worlds with magic that's just so unique to that world. And in this one, he did it again. But for me, I think it was the visual aspect in this, because the magic system is based off breath, and that's something that everyone has. And the more breath that you have, which you can take from other people, or it can be given, you basically, your magic is entwined with color, and the more breath that you have, the greater the differences between the hues of color. And when you kind of meet some of the gods that are in this book, who have, you know, thousands and if not millions of breath, then they get to the point where even their magical essence kind of splits white light in its hue into all the kind of, you know, refracted colors of the rainbow. And when you read it and it describes the kind of magic, it's just so beautifully visual. Like when I was like imagining it happening in my mind for some of these scenes, it was just a burst of color, and I just absolutely love the characters that you follow. So this is basically based off two princesses, Ciri and Vivenna, and Vivenna has been promised to the God King to marry him, but actually it's not her that ends up going. It's her sister Ciri, and Vivenna tries to save her sister and go on this adventure. Ciri gets to meet this God King, who is like probably to the public's eye the most scariest kind of being ever to existed. He has the most breath, he's all powerful, and it's kind of their points of view as they go through different worlds. So Vivenna's kind of perplexed about who she is, who's her identity now that she's no longer marrying the God King, and Ciri, who's this kind of like rebellious younger sibling who never really had any responsibilities because her older siblings kind of took those. So she's this free spirit, gets kind of shackled in this kind of promise to marry this you know, all-powerful being. And I absolutely loved it. All the characters in here are incredible. I love, you know, special shout out to Lightsong. I love actually the God King as well, when you get to know a bit more about him towards the end of the book. And the two sisters, Ciri is definitely my favourite. As I said, she's kind of like this rebellious spirit, got a very strong kind of point of view and voice, and I really love kind of her experience in the chapters that are her point of view in this book. Yeah, and the magic system again is incredible, so I definitely recommend it. It's a standalone, so if you haven't read any Brandon Sanderson, you could start with this one. I don't think it will change your experience of the Cosmere, but I just think it's an incredible read, and definitely one that I would love to read again from the beginning. My last book, guys, is another Brandon Sanderson, and that's The Way of Kings. This book, yes, it's chunky, a bit like me. I absolutely love it. I've just only finished reading it. I went on holiday to Greece and I took this one with me and I finished it. This book is by far, I think, my favourite Brandon Sanderson. I mean, I love Warbreaker, but this book is just absolutely out of this world. It's a bit intimidating, I won't lie. It's like 1,000-something pages, but every single page is worth it. The depth of the characters in here. So you have Kaladin, who's this guy who was, you know, working for greatness, hoping for a future within being a soldier, and gets cast into slavery. and really goes on this wild adventure where he starts to understand his true self, and his kind of destinies revealed about who and what he really is. And I absolutely love that about him. Kaladin is by far my favourite character in this book. I really love Syl, and also Shallan, or Shaylin, sorry if I've said it wrong, in this book, because I think she is a very interesting character. And when I first kind of meet her in the book, I didn't really know what to make about her, but towards the end I absolutely loved her. She's a really strong female main character with a strong point of view, and she's so wholesome in kind of her journey to try and protect and save her family. But when the kind of world gets revealed that actually in the world there's things coming that could mean the end of civilization, she has to pick between saving her family or saving the world. I absolutely love kind of her experience in this. But yeah, Kaladin is my favourite. I absolutely love kind of his journey in not only kind of trying to save himself, but by saving others, he gets to kind of rebuild himself back. And the magic system in this is incredible. I love the shard bearers with the shard blades. And big shout out to Szeth Sun Vallano, because I feel like although you meet him throughout the book, I feel like I'm really excited to see where his character's going. Because he seems this really tortured soul who's trapped in this kind of like shackle of control, and really he kind of has just accepted his fate where he's going to burn and suffer for all of his wrongdoings, but he kind of can't see a way out of it, and I really do think that there's some more to explore with his character. But yeah, amazing book, and just definitely worth a read. Each of these books definitely have a piece of my soul, and I think that's what's so unique and loved about all of these stories, is that they definitely give you a little bit of something that you take with you. There's days go by where I think about the characters or the worlds, and even when I'm reading other books, sometimes something reminds me of something in these books that kind of take me back. And I think that's what is so great about what the authors have done in each of these stories, is that yes, there's amazing world building and magic systems and characters, but the characters either are so real, or the emotion or kind of what's going on in the world is so real and kind of reflects day-to-day life. Yes, I don't live in a fantasy world. I wish I did, as I'm sure some of you also who read fantasy would, but you just take what's really human about these books, and that's what sticks with me, is that they are fantasy, but they also are so real, and the characters are so human, or it's like about elements of the human soul and human nature, and that's what I really love about these books. And yes, if I could sell my soul and read them all again from the beginning, I would, because they have helped shape me. I see some of my own life experiences experienced by some of these characters, like Kaladin, who kind of goes through depression and how to deal with that, and kind of the nature of your building yourself back up. And that's something that I've experienced, and when I read that in a character, you really connect with them, and that's what I find is so beautiful about these books. And so I would definitely read them again in a heartbeat. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what your thoughts are, and definitely give a like and a comment down below. And please, if you do enjoy these videos, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and share and put the notifications on. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.